Witches? I'm here fresh from my morning ritual, and I'm feeling really calm. And I was about to do the regular thing of, getting on the Facebook and seeing what the hell happened with the world overnight. But you know what? I like you way better than that. So I'm here for another unboxing. Today, I am looking at a youthful deck called Faerie Wisdom. Let me move my little thingies forward here. This is called Faerie Wisdom Book and Card Set by Giillian Kemp. Includes 52 magical message cards. As you can probably tell, this is a deck that is good for the younger set. It says Body, Mind, Spirit, New Age. Those are the categories. Let the fairies in all their wisdom answer questions you have about your life and future. The full-color book reveals the meanings of the 52 magic message cards and how to lay them out, as well as fairy customs and rituals that have survived since time immemorial. Each of the cards is beautifully illustrated and holds a unique fairy message. Together they represent every aspect of fairy lore, from the troll who lives under the earth healing the roots of the trees to mischief-making imps and pixies. Will your wish come true? What do the seasons hold in store for you? How will your future evolve? Find out now. And this is by Sterling Publishing Company, Inc. This was a deck I got for one of my kids, probably my eldest. Just thinking timing-wise. And then what do you know? It ended up in my collection. Okay, so Giillian Kemp. And the copyright, we've got a nice size book here with some color images. Sterling Publishing. The copyright on this was 2003. So this was no doubt my eldest. 2003 Seco Books, text Giillian Kemp. It doesn't say that there's a different artist. No, I'm sure she's the artist. And I don't see something, specifically about the author and the artist. So let's look at the cards. They're an interesting, and now I got a story. Here comes a story. So you see how they kind of stick up. They don't quite fit down in that space. That's because they're swole. I'll tell you why. We used to do, for the Hogwarts program that I'm involved with, we would do a Yule Ball every once in a while. For a while there, we did it every year. And I did readings one year, and I would, do readings and donate the money. And this was a ball for adults and kids. There was alcohol. There was a band. It was a rockin' good time. And I had to have something. It's like, if kids want a reading, because I do not read for kids. If anyone has ever tried to read for a kid, one thing reading about a kid to a parent, but reading for a kid, even reading for someone under 18. And in fact, I did a chart for someone 29 the other day, and she said, if you had told me all this stuff when I was 20, none of it would have made sense. So that's why, because things aren't gelled enough. There's not enough life experience to draw on, not enough context. The context has to grow in order for a reading to be meaningful for the person receiving it. So kids don't really have that context and that awareness. But it's like, how do I give messages to these kids? How do I give them something that they will enjoy? So I used this deck, and we did have alcohol there. And my table got bumped, and this deck inadvertently got wickened by a full glass of Guinness. So the fairies appreciated that. It was like the fairies went, hey, wait, there's a whopping great glass of Guinness. And they took it over. So they're a little swole. They don't fit in that nice little slot. No matter. Let's scoot these out of the way. So these are arranged by season. And we start off with the king and the queen. We have the fairy king of spring. Oh God, am I going to read every single one of these? We'll see. The fairy king of spring, the fairy lantern lights the way of wisdom on the stairway to happiness. The fairy queen of spring. Possibly I will not read all these messages. I mean, it's not like the images are what give you the message. It is the message itself. So the dreams being woven. Let's go through the first. Maybe I'll do the kings and queens of each one. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. All right. A dream being woven will come true. Wishing brings the blessing closer. Okay. Then we have the sprite. All your emotions rise to the surface to be reflected and pondered upon. You see a pond there. The leprechaun. Lucky signs appear. Being worthy of your desire makes it materialize. So, I mean, think about doing a reading for a little kid here. Let's get a look at the artwork a little closer. Come on, camera. Do your frickin' thing. There we go. A leprechaun. So it's a kind of, I guess they would call it a naive style, a folksy art style. But you can imagine trying to, this comes up for a little kid, being worthy of your desire makes it materialize. Okay, so yeah, it was a stretch, and I watched messages flying over kids' heads. So I basically told them, either you're lucky or just to be careful for a little while. I really simplified the messages for them. So we have the elf. Love, light, and benevolence shine. Personal happiness prevails. The dwarf. Fairy gifts manifest as earthly and spiritual treasures. The imp. Fairy grace brings love and protection. Expect what your mind creates. So, you could talk about that to somebody that, wishing, but then it sounds like wishing makes it so. Just, use your mind so you can decide the things you want. The nymph, the premise is success. The power of love creates and sustains you. So, the other point here is that these aren't necessarily for kids. You can get a serious reading out of them. The green lady, opportunity arrives. Creative love sustains and heals all. The people of peace, peace and harmony reign supreme. Wish fulfillment. The boggle fairy. I guess I'm holding them down because I'm obsessed with reading now, but let's look at the artwork more. The boggle fairy. The sylph. The sylph is the magical being of air. Sprinkling of fairy dust brings magic. The blessing nears. The giant great strides. Okay, what does this remind you of? Last unicorn, anybody? Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay, great stories are taken. Gigantic shadows fade. The fairy king of summer. So here's summer. We go into this beautiful sunny yellow. Expectations are honestly lived up to. The queen, the sun will not set on your dreams. Your life absorbs the color of your thoughts. I mean, there's a great message you can talk to a kid about. What the things you spend time thinking about definitely change your mood. The good people, respect and surprise are mingled. Good fortune waits in the distance. The pixie, there are signposts on the enchanted path. The gnome, providence grants wisdom. I'll get them over here so you can see them better. The mermaid, fairy and earthly secrets become crystal clear. The good lady fairy, noble good lies at the heart of destiny. I mean, how would you interpret that? Noble good lies at the heart of destiny. Yeah, that would be a tough one to translate to a kid. And there is a book. The Portune. The glory of winning is heartfelt. The trooping fairies. Powers of charm and desire beckon. The flower fairy. Wishes will unfurl and flower. The spriggan. Goodness wins protection. No, goodness wins protection by its virtue. So by that, just, when you do good deeds, there's some protection that comes with that. The universe likes that. But then again, bad things happen to good people every once in a while. Okay, the Nereid. I'm not sure. Romantic love will always find a way. The She. The radiant sunshine turns blossom to bloom. Now we're into fall, the fairy king of fall. Dead wood is cleared. Fairy queen, death nourishes rebirth. I mean, these are wonderful seasonal messages. So it would be a great learning deck for, young pagans, I think. The goblin, intuitive perseverance lights the way. Boy, my hands are warm. I'm holding them right over this charcoal. Did I move that forward? I guess I did. The hobgoblin, unseen powers guide with a helping hand. Then we have the gentry. Bright stars grant wishes on dark nights. Higher forces bring strength. You have kind of this wish-granting fairy. Come on. Oh, good people, I invite you and show yourselves. There we go. All right. The brownie, ask and it will be given. The glastig, the gift of second sight, is bestowed. She's like a centaur with a bra. You don't ever see female centaurs, do you? Well, she's got a mermaid bra on. The siren, the call is heard and receives a response. The grindelow, all is not what it appears. Inner power illuminates the way. The changeling, good seeds remain from fallen fruit. See, that's an excellent, excellent message that even when things end and go away, those things, by being in your life, those things have planted new seeds. So there are lovely messages here. The troll, steadfast determination sees the light. Peace of mind arrives. Oh, look at that, the puka. Nature weaves its magic spell. Bright renewal follows recuperation. Look at his ears. I want to be friends with that puka. I definitely want to be friends with that puka. The no fall. The season's fall. Omniscience makes its presence felt. Optimism opens doors. And now we have winter. The darkness holds the seeds of light. And the queen says peaceful sleep and deep slumbers precede morning glory. The green man. Evergreen abundance is unfailing. The grateful fairies. Fairy gifts are showered as a reward. Gratitude is its own reward. The boggart. Caution prevents defeat. Forgo immediate treasures for distant. That would be easily translated. The mer people. Grateful rewards wing their way. The cluricon. Like a leprechaun, but it's a cluricon. Harmony prevails, a crock of gold awaits. So he's the lad in the nice spiffy red coat and the green hat. There you can knock a crock of gold out of. The banshee, vulnerable emotions ebb and flow, a new beginning follows an ending. The 100-year sleep fairy, sweet dreams bring fey premonitions. The undine, emotional tides are turning. The lamia, ethereal waves cast a magic spell. The white lady, purity is rewarded in heart and soul. The fairy godmother, celestial fairy forces wave a magic wand. So, I mean, a lovely, simple little deck with messages that you can, simplify or can go deeper with. So let's take a shuffle. No sweat there. These are nice and bendable. And All right, let's get through the first 3 shuffles here. So it's very interesting that you can, there's just the variety of decks. And I'm looking at the copyright on this and thinking, Harry Potter had been out for a while by then. And, the things like Grindylows and Mer People and I can't remember the other thing that I saw there that was a, first heard of in Harry Potter kind of thing. So one wonders, but one can't answer that question because those fairies have been around for a heck of a long time. Okay, let's get our guides in here. Allies and ancestors, guides and guardians, I offer you fresh water to please come and speak through this oracle and bring my viewers a true message that will help them move beyond survival and into thrival. Today, I offer you this fire of Azrael. What do we need to do today? There's the first one. The Grindylow. What do you know? What do you know, Grindylow? Okay, I'm going to shuffle once more and then 2 off the top. Oh, that one levitated. 1 off the top. The Grindylow, the Fairy Queen of Spring, and the Fairy Godmother. Okay, let's take a look at the book before we look things up. Introduction, Away with the Fairies, Fairy Customs and Rituals, Fairyland, How to Lay the Cards, the Fairy Wisdom Cards and their meanings, and then they're broken down by season. This little fairy book wishes to reveal the importance of fairies in your life by revealing folklore as old as the hills in which fairies have lived since time immemorial. It offers you an understanding of the different types of fairies that have continued to exist since the birth of nature. No doubt you have seen fairies in the morning mist or in the half-light of sunset in the countryside and woods. Leaves and flowers look like moving creatures. A tree base resembles an odd little person. Squint your eyes, look again, but this time focus into the distance. Glance sideways at what you thought might be a shy fairy attempting to conceal itself. Fairies are transparent and your hand can pass through them as it can a rainbow reflection or a ghost. If you see a fairy, or even think you may have, wish. If you have seen one, your wish will come true. Fairies are easily visible dancing around a candle flame. Look at the flame, close your eyes for a few moments, then partially open them and look into the flame's halo. There you will see a ring of whirling fairies. That's very cool. Fairy customs and rituals. Understanding fairies is simple. They dispense good fortune to the deserving and misfortune to mortals who need to learn a lesson. They redress the heavenly scales of balance. Fairies value truth as the highest virtue, and their mission is to assist good in winning over evil. Honesty and loyalty are the expression of a very real race of delicate creatures who physically exist. Fairies represent primal innocence, an endangered species of nature spirits who pronounce the moral laws of justice and the virtues established by nature. That is why fairies are both revered and feared, and why only the pure of heart see them. Foolish people might only experience fairies who show mortals the error of their ways at a particular moment of moral transgression. All fairies revel in secrecy, aware of being vulnerable intruders and strangers, but with the ability to perform magic. This is great information here. I don't think I've ever read this. Some fairies are virtually naked. Some live for hundreds of years, making them extraordinarily wise. Most have a greenish complexion and wear green of all possible shades in order to remain hidden within nature. All possess the magic to almost instantly blend into flowers, trees, or that part of nature in which they live. And they talked about seeing things, you see them. If you put your hands out to the side and look ahead and look at the point at which you can no longer, like the last point at which you can see in your peripheral vision. Mine stops right there. So this is where you'll see them, okay? Faeries' favorite trees are oak, elder, birch, rowan, hazel, and apple, as well as blackberry bushes. We've got blackberries. We have a whole patch of blackberries back there that was not there when we moved in here. And it's not like we eat blackberries all the time. They got planted back there somehow, some way. You know, there might have been a cane when we moved in. I don't know. But suddenly we realized, oh my gosh, there's a blackberry patch. And 3 years ago I started tending it. And now it gives us fruit. So, okay, gooseberry bushes and briars. And I will also tell you that in my garden patch back here, I have an offering stone. And at least on the moons, I offer to the fairies. I offer them fruit, I offer them pastries, I offer them whiskey, brandy, you know, all kinds of treats. So no wonder we have a blackberry patch. Wow. Gooseberry bushes and briars, nothing. Neighboring field mice, birds, bats, insects, and hedgehogs are particular companions. Fairies abide in our human world at moments that are balanced on the edge of time. When a human being is on the brink of choice or transition, fairies appear to promote justice. It is for this reason that they are associated with the transience of dawn and sunset, with midday, midnight, midsummer, midwinter, and the seasons of the year. Now remember, times of change are times when the veil thins. So dawn and dusk, twilight, when we're not night and not day, those in-between times are times when the veil is thin and we can encounter the other world much more easily. So these are just the laws of magic here. Fairies can and do bless in the most magical and ironical ways. However, at their whim, they can just as easily curse those who transgress the laws of nature. Truth! Having control over them, fairies subtly suggest good. Having control over time, sorry. Print is very small here, definitely for kids. Having control over time, fairies subtly suggest good. They teach morals and survival, helping humans to make the best decision at moments of change, in just the same way that fairies themselves choose to be in the human world. Fairies and fairyland have existed for as long as nature. The word fairy is derived from the Latin fatae, meaning fates. Faerie translates as an enchanted state. Later, the meaning altered to denote the spiritual beings answerable for the enchantment. Fae is derived from the Roman goddess of fate, and a fairy is a spell cast by fae. Fae or fae, F-A-Y or F-E-Y, means possessing clairvoyance or second sight. When you say, I'm in a fae mood, it's like somebody's off with the fairies. All people throughout the worlds from Europe to Australia have believed in the legend of these supernatural creatures. Before the earliest chronicled record of fairies in the 12th century, few people were literate and their stories spread by word of mouth, so the ancient tales vary slightly depending on the vicinity, but in essence they are the same. Okay, then there's a little section on fairyland, which is quite long and I'm not going to read it. But then we look at spreads, how to lay the cards. The Fairy Wish spread, which is 9 cards. The Gallitraps circle, which is 9 cards again. The North, South, West, and East spread, which is 7 cards. Then we have Holy Mackerel. I guess it's the same thing, but there's a lot more cards. This one looks like 13. That one is 6. That one is 13. So we're looking at whopping big spreads here. The Fairy Charm spread is 10 cards. This one is 8. The Fairy Tale spread. Then we have the Yes or No spread, 3 cards. Then we've got the Crisscross Fairy Dust spread. There's 9 cards. And they don't give category names. Take them. This one, okay, shuffle the 52 fairy cards, blow on them 3 times while wishing. Do they do this every time? No, it's a shuffling that makes the difference. Shuffle the 52 cards, spread all the cards out face down in a fan shape, randomly select 4 cards. This one says, remove the green man and fairy godmother from the deck. Place the 2 cards side by side with the first on the left, second on the right. Shuffle the remaining cards and then deal them out. This one says, shuffle the deck while concentrating on your question. This one says, shuffle and blow on them 3 times while wishing. Cut it 3 times and blow 1 wish on each stack before putting the 3 piles back together. Take the first 9 cards and place them down in rows of 3 as shown below. Read the cards like noughts and crosses, like tic-tac-toe, by turning a horizontal or diagonal row face up to reveal whether your wish will come true. The last card may determine the season when that will occur. A spring card, for instance, designates springtime. So how do you know if it'll come true? I guess it'll tell you. This one, to answer a problematic question, shuffle the cards while telling the fairies in the deck that the 3 cards you select will answer your question. Okay, so I guess that's kind of what we did. Shuffle them, meanwhile cutting the deck 3 times. So many different ways. This one's got 13 cards. This one's got 13 cards. And then we go, so many, many, many ways to encounter this deck. I kind of like that there's just different rituals, shuffle them this way, tell the deck this. So this is good training for a kid that wants to be a seer, kid that has the wisdom. All right, we have, this is nice. So we have a list with what it says on the actual card. So there's like a quick reference here. And then we have longer meanings. Wow. Okay, the Grindylow. So what do we need to do to thrive? In our current times, whenever that is, whenever you're watching this, all is not what it appears. Inner power illuminates the way. So this is fall. Let's go look that up. This is the number 9 card of fall. Matters take a timely turn for the better because you remain faithful to your beliefs and withdraw from a potentially hazardous situation. Okay, I'll drink to that. This is speaking to me. I mean, I'm sitting here right after I do my morning puja, my Tara puja, which is praying to lift the vibration of this world and move things in the direction we need to move in. So, because I remain faithful to my beliefs and withdraw from a potentially hazardous situation, I'm not sure what that hazard will. Withdrawing from the consumption of news. I am backing off so hard from social media and the consumption of news. So I'll take that. So there's a message to you that maybe it's time for you to do that as well. You may be pausing to question whether the direction in which you're heading will really get you what you ultimately desire. Truth. Everything is possible because you're open to opportunities that will change your life. It will not be long before the answer to your hopes and wishes arrives, leading you on to greater and richer rewards that fulfill your desires. Okay, so I get that if we withdraw from what is harmful and really center in our beliefs and put that energy out there, that things take a turn for the better. Now we have the Fairy Queen of Spring. So these are like really advicey rather than here's where you're at so far. Let's look at the Fairy Queen of Spring. A dream being woven will come true. Wishing brings the blessing closer. So, talking about the power of wishing. So I could see if you did that noughts and crosses spread, this would be a thing saying, yes, wishes come true. The dream weaver of fantastical joys is you. Brightness is born into your life by your bright vision of the future. A fresh start begins, and a venture flowers and grows, bringing unexpected communication. The work you complete bears fruit in the future. The work you complete bears fruit in the future. So looking at the completion of a project, the completion of a task, as here's what I need to do in the present and letting the future take care of itself is what I'm getting there. The work, okay, you have what you dream of. Achievements and rewards will be yours through quiet perseverance. There will be a second chance in love, but not ambitions. Ooh. Great expectations in your heart will be fulfilled this spring. Okay. There will be a second chance in love, but not ambitions. I guess that means get busy, huh? So very interesting there. I mean, this is ringing my bell hard, you guys. I hope it is yours too. But you have what you dream of. And I'm getting, what I'm feeling here is spending concentrated time really vividly imagining the future that we really want, imagining what it will be like when there are solar panels everywhere, when our energy is fully renewable, when we have local farmers again, when people are sustainably farming the land and everyone can get their hands on the food that they need from local healthy sources, where power is coming back into the hands of the people, where people are eating healthily, where people have health care to take care of themselves, where everyone has a basic income and they're pouring it into the economy and it's thriving and growing, where people are kind to each other. So this is what spending time every day visualizing this, imagining this. Number one, what's going to happen first of all is you're going to get calm inside. You're going to be living in the reality. Your body's going to respond to the reality that your brain is creating and the joy and the gratitude that comes from that reality, from imagining that. So immediately you are going to become a more potent human being because you're de-stressing and because you're generating these beautiful visions. And the thoughts that you generate, what were we reading before? The thoughts that you generate have everything to do with how you feel and what your reality is. So time to start really visualizing that. And then what happens next is we start raising the vibration. You know, the 100th monkey thing, there is a tipping point. There is a tipping point where at which point they look in, in nature, in populations of animals. I'm thinking of the monkeys in Japan, that one monkey started going into the hot spring and using the hot spring and bathing. And when they got to a certain percentage of the population that was doing this behavior, it started springing up in other populations that are not connected with this population. So there's a consciousness tipping point. When you raise your consciousness and enough people raise their consciousness, we hit a tipping point in the population where it leaps. It leaps into other populations that aren't directly connected. So get busy, do your work, okay? Now, the last one here, the fairy godmother, celestial fairy forces, wave a magic wand. Oh, please. This is the number 13 card. Okay. Fearlessly, your faith sees the way, revealing that you were born to triumph over physical and emotional hurdles. Only by doing wrong, okay, you were born to triumph. Only by doing wrong when you know right does the immortal fairy grace lose its power to protect you from harm. Peace of mind and a tranquil soul result from the higher values for which you strive. So what does that say? What did I just say to you? When you start visualizing this higher vibration, peace of mind and a tranquil soul result from that. Bingo. A windfall of fairy fortune is being dispensed to you. Being in conscious harmony, you are blessed with health, happiness, prosperity, and love. Expect many delightful miracles. So there you have it. I mean, I'm pulling out this deck from years ago and getting ready to kind of dismiss it as a kid deck. Guess what? It's not. It's got the mojo. It is obviously connected with the Faerie energy. It has good, deep messages for us. So yeah, this is a sweet little deck. I betcha it's out of print. I have started going through my collection and looking things up to put in the catalog, whether they're actually out of print. But since that's a thing that's going to kind of be changing, you know, things go out of print and then they have a second printing or whatever. I don't know how much time I'll spend on that. Look how swole they got. I mean, here's how they used to fit. I guess we could, so this many cards. But perhaps it's because of the Guinness blessing that they received that they speak so truly. Well, there's an unboxing. I hope you got something out of that. I hope that you like and subscribe to my channel. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Lots of new things in the works, and unboxing every single day until I get through my collection. And considering my collection is constantly growing, this could go on forever. But I was thinking about, what happens when I get to the end of my collection, because as it stands right now, I've got about 70 decks to get through, which kind of blows my mind out of 200. When I get to the end of that, I will still continue putting out daily videos, except there's going to be more new and different content. So I'm giving myself time to morph into that. At any rate, I hope your day is wonderful. I hope that this inspired you and lifted your vibration. There is a donate button below. There is also a wish list below. And if you care to pick a deck from that wish list and send it to me, I will shout you out. Make sure you give me your name in the gift receipt, and I will do a personal reading for you on my unboxing video. And I will be eternally grateful. Your name will go into my catalog as the source of that deck, and anytime I see your name, I will bless it. So have an excellent day, you guys. I will see you tomorrow for another unboxing, and I will see you Wednesday for a live stream of readings of the signs. Until then, be safe. This is the Zen Witch. Blessed be.